Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to this video. Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to this video. So the first industry we will talk about is advertising. Online advertising is a very big market, a multi-billion-dollar market. Now, if we look at it, the essence of online advertising is that ads that apply to you or which are most relevant to you, only those get clicked. Now imagine if you have you are on Facebook, let's just say, and if you just had a baby boy and you upload pictures. Now you end up getting an ad for a product which has to do with baby boys, but let's say that's not of your location, but let's say somewhere in the other hemisphere of the world. So in cases like these, what really happens is that if ads are not relevant, they don't get clicked, and that means there is potential revenue loss. So in advertising, the way big data or Hadoop is used is to see what's the best ad to be displayed based on the action. That's one of the most common use case for Hadoop in advertising industry. Optimizing the ad space and putting ads that are relevant to the user so that they get clicked is one of the most common use case for advertising. What does big data have when it comes to finance industry, that's insurance and banking? One is fraud detection, one of the most common, and then recommending other products. So all your life you've been in a certain country or a location, you've been doing all the transactions. Suddenly one of the transaction comes from an unusual location, or most of the times your transaction have always been in the range of $100 to $500, but suddenly there is a $5,000 transaction. So like this, there could be a lot of cases where there is an unusual transaction, and what you really want is a system that first keeps a profile of who you are, what are your most common transactions, and then basically detect what is so unusual about it. So that's one of the use case which is used very heavily in the finance domain. Other thing is the products that you purchased. So if you purchased one kind of a loan, it may make sense that you buy another kind of loan. Third is risk calculation. What is the probability based on your previous data whether you will be able to pay this loan off or you will not be paying this loan? So those kind of things could be detected using all the data that you have, and you put them in Hadoop and you get that solution. One of the most common use case is defense. Put all the data that's available around social media and different social networking sites and your intelligence information. Based on that, create a probability of a potential threat. A lot of countries are using this now very heavily. So these are some of the use cases that you could see in advertising, finance, defense, e-commerce. The most common use case is recommendation engine. The most common use case is recommendation engine. So here what you really see is that if a user A is similar to user B, and if user A has purchased the product A, it's probable that user B would also be interested in that. So that's a case where big data and Hadoop is used in e-commerce. These are some of the most common use cases that you will find around big data and Hadoop. Now let's expand one such use case where I was personally involved in this particular project, and I would give you some insights on how this worked. So let's look at the entire case. Entire case was that popularity of a video is decided based on number of views. That was the first way of doing things. Second condition that we should know is having an ad in the beginning of the video is most expensive and as the ad gets delayed in the video, the ad gets cheaper and cheaper. Just some calculations. If an ad at beginning of the video is $4, at the halfway or middle it may just cost 10 cents, and at the end it may just cost less than a cent. Let's say this is the calculation that we have. Now, most of the times customers they prefer putting ads in the beginning, but that's very costly. How do you really optimize it? So one of our customer came up with an idea where the assumption was number of views is a flawed way to trace popularity. Now that's a use case. We can't depend on just the number of views. So let's look at it. There is video 1 that has had 5 million views and 2 million views went till the end. Then there is video 2 that has been seen 1 million times and 900K have gone till the very end. Now, as per number of views, video 1 is more popular, but as per the number of people who've been going till the end, video 2 is any day more popular than video 1. So now the use case was to optimize spend on ads. Let's trace a video based on how many customers went till 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, and so on. Now that gives customer a flexibility to decide that looks like 80% of people are seeing the same video 50% all the time. So why don't I place my ad in between the video and I just pay like 40 times less money. So in that regard, what we had to do now is to really trace this. We loaded all the logs data in Hadoop, and the data was 32 petabyte for 6 months. And based on that, we defined that a video X was seen 10% of times by a video X. The number of views were 50 million. Out of that, 35 million people went till the very end. When it came to 20%, 30 million people went, and we traced 30, 40, 50, and so on and so forth. So the way it really works is you trace your views every 10%. And whichever video was seen the most, let's say till 50%, would typically mean that this video is more popular, and it makes sense to pay 40 times less money and put your ads there, put your video ads there. So this was one of the most common use case we had, and that would save customer millions of dollars right now. So this was all about one of the use case that we saw. So we've seen how big data can be used in advertising, in defense, in finance sector, in e-commerce sector, and we've seen one use case where There was a proper requirement that number of views for a video was a very flawed way of looking things. To optimize and save those millions of dollars, let's trace 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, and whichever video was, let's say, seen 50% of times, most of the time, let's put ad there so that we get, or we save technically 40 times the money. That's the real idea. So this was all about the use case pertaining to, or use cases pertaining to big data and Hadoop. Thanks for watching this video. See you in the next video.